Hello there. This is a recording of one of my favorite yoga routines that I really do every day. I change it up here and there, but the core of it kind of stays the same because I feel like it just gives me a little bit of everything. Flexibility, strengthening, a little bit of cardio. Anyway, I just thought I'd record it for some of my family and friends who have asked me about it. So here we go. The things you'll need today for this video will be a block, if you have one. I'm going to be using a cranial cradle, which is something that you may not have, but can be ordered if you like it. It's called a cranial cradle. You can get them at the website cranialcradle.com, and you can reach out to me if you need any more information about ordering that. An eye pillow if you have one for Shavasana, but again, don't have to have that. None of the props you have to have. A strap would be very useful. If you don't have a strap, a long belt or maybe a strap or a tie off a bathrobe. Sometimes they're really long and that can be used. So those are the props I'm going to be using today. Okay, we're going to start with just a really simple meditation. It's one that I learned at the Chopra Center from Deepak Chopra when I did some training there a few years ago. This is the one he uses all the time when he leads big groups. He always uses this, at least this part of the meditation. So if you'll sit comfortably, you can sit in easy pose. If you need something underneath you, under your hips, go ahead and roll up a blanket or get a cushion. You can put that under you if that helps you to be seated comfortably. Hands are just relaxed in your lap or on your knees, just letting the shoulders relax, letting your head relax and release off your neck, and having a nice elongated spine. And as you sit, just become aware of your breath. You don't have to do anything to regulate your breath, just let it be natural and easy. And now become aware of your heart center, energetically. Heart center is right in here. And just breathe into that space. And as you do that, we're going to pose these 4 questions, and Chopra refers to them as the soul questions, the 4 soul questions. So I'll go through each question, and you can just pose the question to yourself, silently or out loud. And you're just not trying to figure out the answer to these questions. These are questions that are very deep questions that we're just posing. And then it's as if things just come to you that are, in a way, an answer to these questions. So the first question is, who am I? Who am I? The second question, what do I want? What do I really want? What is my heart's deepest desire? What do I want? And thirdly, what is my dharma? And dharma means purpose, your purpose in life. How can I help myself and help others with my gifts and talents? What is my Dharma? And lastly, what am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? And now letting go of those questions and any answers or images or words you may have heard about those questions, just let go of that as well. We'll go ahead and take those questions and bring them onto the mat as we do this yoga routine. It's almost like letting it work through you, letting those questions just move through you as you do this routine, and perhaps increase your awareness of your body and just sensitivity. Okay, so we're going to move right into supine position on your back, taking the cranial cradle. We're going to be laying on the cranial cradle with the flat side down. The head will be in the little hole here. And the little prongs, these are called finger arches, they will be on the back of the neck. So this will be sitting flat on the floor. We're going to go down and just put your head, the back of your head in the little hole. Little arches under your neck, and it should feel like your head just rests and balances in the little cradle. You really want to focus on letting go, just letting that cradle do just that. Let it cradle your head. Let go of the tension in your neck. Let go of any tension in your jaw. And again, become aware of your breath, breathing in and out through the nose if possible. And I'm going to teach you a breath technique that's really nice for regulating the nervous system, kind of taking the nervous system from a more amplified state, what we would call in the sympathetic state, fight or flight, to a more relaxed state, what we call parasympathetic, and that would be the rest and digest state of your nervous system. So this breath technique is called 4-7-8 breathing, and I'm just going to describe it and sort of demo it once, and then we can just do it together. So you first want to just breathe out all your air, let all the air out of the lungs. The tip of the tongue is going to go on the back of the teeth. This is called the fire point. Has a strong connection with the solar plexus or belly. So when we take a breath in, we're going to breathe diaphragmatically. So breath comes into the belly, tongue is on that fire point. Count of 4 in through the nose. Suspend your breath. Count of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We exhale through the mouth fairly forcibly for the count of 8. So it's in through the nose, fire point, tongue is on fire point. Breathe diaphragmatically in through the nose. You can do it with me now. Hold, that's count of 4. Hold for the count of 7. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blow out. For the count of 8. Again, we're going to do this 3 more times. In, count of 4. Hold, count of 7. Out. Count of 8. In. Hold, count of 7. In, count 4. Hold, count of 7. And just take a moment to notice how your body feels, how your mind feels. Is it any easier to relax and let go? So that was 4, 7, 8 breathing. The 4, 7, 8 count is done 4 repetitions. Okay, now we're going to take the cranial cradle. We're going to tip it up on its, we're going to tip it on the tip here, and the flat side is toward the feet. And my head is going to go, the back of my head is going to go on the little groove there between those two little prongs that were on the back of the head when it was lying flat. So now we've got a little bit of stretch. This is called rock and traction with the cranial cradle. Got a little bit of stretch in the neck. Now we're going to just gently do some range of motion, just rocking back. So now we have the rocking. So it's rock and traction. You may feel some little tight spots in your neck. We're going to now add the arms in. We're going to take the palms going up and down. So you're changing the palm direction opposite one another as we rotate the neck. And this is giving a little stretch to the nerves in the upper body. This is called neural stretching. Some people have heard it as neural or nerve flossing. It's just kind of moving the nerves within the soft tissues as we move the body. If you find a particularly tight spot in the neck, you can just kind of rest in that rotation and get a prolonged stretch. You can turn your hand or arm in a different direction to accentuate the stretch. And a good stretch on a muscle is about 25 to 30 seconds. That's how long it takes a muscle to really begin to let go. And it's important not to be pushing too hard on a muscle as you stretch it into discomfort, because the body will naturally protect itself. If you're in pain, the muscles will tighten up in a protective nature. So it's important to meet the tightness, and you push up against it and you breathe into it. And you might feel mild discomfort, but as the discomfort eases, you can push a little bit more and keep breathing and letting go, but only take what your muscle gives you. You don't want to just stretch a muscle, beyond what it's ready for. You could really micro tear a muscle, or again, get a protective muscle contraction, which is counter to what you're trying to do. Okay, I'm going to take the cranial cradle out now. Roll to your side and come to sitting position, and we're going to take the cranial cradle and put it with the tip facing down toward the feet. And you can kind of guesstimate where you want it. We're going to lay down on the cradle now and do some trigger point release. And I'm particularly tight. You might want to have your block handy. Some tightness between the shoulder blades, so that's where I'm going to work it. I'm going to support my head with my block so that I'm not in a really extreme arch position. And now I have those two little knobs are on either side of my spine, and the empty space between those two little knobs is along my spine itself. So the spine is not being pushed on, just the muscles to the sides of the spine. And then you can I like to kind of do a little arms wrapping around and a little rotation of the spine, just little mini rotation. And that just puts pressure on the spine as you rotate to the right. You'll feel it more on the right side, and as you rotate to the left, you'll feel that left side. And again, keep your breath going in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And if you feel a particularly tender area, on this one it's okay to feel a little bit more pain as we're not moving, we're not stretching, so we're not going to tear or force the muscles. So you can feel a little bit more discomfort in this one, and you probably will. If it's too much, you can always take like a washcloth or just a little cloth of some sort, patty, and put it across so the tips aren't quite as, you know, pronounced. So you can do this on multiple levels. You know, I'm going to move down just a little bit. I'm going to move up just a little on the spine. And again, you can change the angle of you can put your feet up, and that can change the pressure that you're feeling on the spine. Good. So now let's go ahead, roll to the side, take the cranial cradle out, and take the block out. And we're just going to be lying flat now. Okay, so legs are straight out in front of you, arms are by your side, and we're going to do what's called a full body extension. So arms are going to go overhead, feet are extending just slightly maybe off the ground, arms reaching above you. It's as if your body is separating itself here, arms and legs reaching in opposite directions. Deep breath. Come out of that stretch. You're going to open the feet, so spread the feet apart. We're going to keep the legs straight. We're going to cross right leg over left ankle. So we've now created a little bit of tension on the right side of the body. You can probably feel that. We're going to scooch the upper body just a little more to the left. So we're creating like a C curve on this side of the body. The right hand is going to go behind the head. The bone on the back of the head is called the occiput, and you're going to put your hand just at the base of that occiput behind the ear. So the heel of your hand will be just behind the right ear. The left hand is reaching down gently towards your feet. You're going to drop the right elbow back, and you're going to be turning the head slightly to the left, almost as if you were looking to your left shoulder. And you should feel a stretch in the back of the neck or the side of the neck, letting that right elbow drop back. If you want a little more stretch, you can take the hand, place it on the top side of the head above the right ear, and you can gently, just a little bit of pressure there, and that will accentuate the stretch. Okay, then come out of that. We're going to come back to midline. You're going to open the feet up again. This time we're going to cross left over right ankle. Reach down with the right hand, scooch the upper body to the right. Bring the left hand up and place the heel of the hand behind the right ear, left occiput, behind the left ear. Gently pushing the head into right rotation now. Right hand is reaching toward the feet. Remember to drop that elbow back, left elbow. Okay, come on out of that. We're back into midline. We're going to go in, just for symmetry's sake, we're going to just do another full body stretch with the arms and legs together. Good. Now bring your knees up towards your chest. Give them a nice squeeze. And we're going to do some gentle rocking, just back and forth. You're going to feel this, should feel like a good pressure, like a massage against your lower back and your sacrum. Keep your breathing going. And just let your head relax on this one, and just let it kind of go wherever the rocking down below takes it. Good. Okay, I'm going to stop into midline. And we're going to bring the hands are now going to slide underneath the knees. We're going to bring feet to sky, so feet are going up, and toes are pulling down towards you. Heels are driving up toward the ceiling. Say hello to your toes. And we're going to say goodbye to the toes and push them up toward the ceiling and really get a good stretch of the front of the foot. This is a place that doesn't see much action as far as this positioning goes. So you might feel some tightness on the front of the foot and ankle. Pull the toes back, hello toes, goodbye toes. So a few times, just back and forth. Okay, now we're going to take the toes around the block. So we're making, I'm going to bring my feet down. So we're just making a circle with the toes. And really this is ankle movement. And then the other way. And this again gets some nice range of motion through the ankle joint, which is a place that I think gets ignored. So, okay, one more time. Toes pulling down towards you, heels driving up. Good. From here, if you have the range of motion, we're going to go into baby pose. So you're going to reach up for the outside edges of your feet. And if you don't have that range, you can come on the backs of your legs and just press down. So your thighs are pressing downward. Okay, and I'm going to just be on the sides, the outside edges of my feet, and I'm gently pressing my thighs down so that they're hopefully going to be at some point parallel to the floor. Okay. This is called Happy Baby. All right, come on back to midline with the knees. Drop the feet down. Keep the knees bent. We're going to tee the arms. Now we're going to do what's called a supine spinal twist. So I like to kind of take this foot and just nest it in the, take my right foot and nest it on the bottom of my left foot. As I rotate, I drop those knees over to the left and look to the right. Breathing into the right side of the body, the right side of the rib cage and your hip. You'll probably feel most of the stretching there. Okay, now we're going to switch. We're going to drop the knees to the right. Again, I'm going to just nest my left foot on the bottom of my right foot. It just gives me a little bit of leverage going over to the right and then looking to the left. I'm going to take your time with this. Really feel the breath moving into the left rib cage, left hip. And keeping that left shoulder secured on the ground, on the mat. Okay, and then we're going to come back to midline. Just give your knees another hug. Good. The next thing we're going to do is grab your yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, you could roll up, get a pillow or roll up a blanket and put it underneath you. What I'm doing with this block is I'm going to put it underneath me on the sacrum. So I'm just at the base of the spine, kind of block right at my sacrum. Right, the top edge of the block is just where the curve of my spine starts. But you'll find the comfort. You'll find a place of comfort there where you just feel balanced and comfortable on the block. This stretch is for the front of the body, namely the hip flexors. And the one that most people have heard of is the psoas muscle. It's one of the primary hip flexors. Flexion of the hip is this. So we're going to be stretching the psoas muscle, which attaches to the front of the hip, goes deep into the belly, and actually attaches to the back of your diaphragm. So it's a really long muscle traveling from diaphragm and top of the rib cage down to the hip joint. All right, so to do this one, you're going to start again on the block. We're going to bring both knees up. We're going to hold on to the left knee, and you want to keep that pelvis tipped backward. This is back, right? You don't want the pelvis to come forward. You want to keep it back. Hold on to the right knee, and I sometimes pull my leg around into a little bit of external rotation. So in a way, I'm doing like upside down pigeon. If you know what pigeon pose is, we're doing pigeon pose, only upside down. So this hip is staying back, the pelvis is staying back. Think about letting go in the front of the left hip. So you're letting the left hip in the front especially relax. And I'm pretty tight in this area, so I really give this some time, making sure again that my hips aren't dropping forward. Keep it back. And I wait until my foot makes contact with the mat, which for me takes, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Okay, so without moving my hips at all, now the stretch has allowed my foot to make contact with the mat. Stretch my leg out a little bit and drop it down again. So everyone's going to have a different flexibility here. Some people are going to be straight out. I'm pretty tight in this area, so for me this is stretched out. Okay, now we're going to switch sides. So grab hold of the left knee, and I like to pull on the outside of the left foot. So again, I'm kind of into pigeon pose. Okay. Letting my leg drop. Thinking about releasing in the front of the right hip. Just giving it time, keeping those hips, keeping the pelvis tipped back. Don't let the pelvis migrate forward. And just be aware of your breath. Okay, so my foot is just touched down. Stretch it out straight. Okay, come back, both knees up. Now we're going to just keep the block in place. You can do one leg at a time, or slide them both down, and just let that yoga block be like a fulcrum, creating some push in the front and stretch of the front body. Just take up any bunching in the shoulders, let that go, and just let the body be in an opened up position here. And for people who sit a lot, or who might have tight hip flexors, this is a really nice stretch to do every day for yourself. If you have back pain, psoas is one of the primary culprits of back pain, soreness, or stiffness. Okay, so now bend the knees up. We're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Now we're in supported bridge pose, right? This is bridge pose with a block. But we're going to release the block, so lift up slightly, take the block out, come back down, And we're going to do a couple of bridges here. So you want to make sure that your feet are parallel to one another. You want to make sure that all four corners of the feet are in contact with the mat. With bridge pose, people have a tendency to let the hips go out. You want to make sure your thighs remain parallel to one another. Feet, all four corners of the feet on the mat. Okay, we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Push down through the legs and lift the hips. Good. Come down. Let's do it again. All four corners of the feet, pushing up. And down. Now we're going to take the hands, clasp your hands together in the front. And as we go up into the bridge, we're going to lift the spine one vertebrae at a time. So the hands are kind of following along the spine here as I move into that extension posture. I go all the way up over the head. And then coming down again, one vertebrae at a time. This is really good for the mobility of the thoracic spine. Coming down, 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 one at a time. And then just a little curl at the end to get those lower segments. And back down. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to get the strap. So take my scarf off. I was a little cold this morning. I woke up to snow this morning. And it's April. So not very happy. Okay. You're going to take your strap and put both feet in the strap. Like so. And this is called staff pose. Supta Dandasana. And we're going to just get a nice stretch of your hamstrings in this pose. If your hamstrings are super tight, you can take a blanket. Where did I put my blanket? I don't have it with me right here. But you can take a blanket and put that underneath you, and that will help so that the edge of the blanket is right at the edge of your hips, and that will help you to maintain this position. Okay, so feet are both in the strap. We're going to slip the left leg out of the strap. Left leg is going to go down straight in front of you. It's going to remain active, so that means your quads are on, your knee is extending, but your leg is not moving. Okay, this is called Supta Dandasana. I'm sorry, we just moved out of Supta Dandasana. This is called Supta Padangusthasana. That's a long one, tongue twister. Just one leg up. This is Supta Padangusthasana 1. Now we're going to drop that out. Now you want to keep your pelvis square to the ceiling. Imagine your belly button has a laser. You want that laser to be pointing directly toward the ceiling. So you're not rotating your hips, okay? Hips are staying stable. Just the leg is dropping out at the hip joint. Left arm can go out to the side to help stabilize. And you're just, the strap can be in your right hand. That'll make it easier. Remember, left leg active. Okay, now we're going to come across the body. We're going to keep the right hip blocked. So in other words, you're not lifting that right hip up. We're going to first keep it blocked. Strap transfers to your left hand. And we're going to bring the leg across the body now to the left. And again, this is one that you probably, if you haven't done this much, you're going to feel very tight in some of these. So adjust your strap accordingly. Don't push on the muscles so hard that you're straining or causing that reflexive muscle guarding. You have to meet yourself where you are. So, and then when I've probably gotten about 45 degrees over, then go ahead and let that right hip rise up. Keep the right shoulder blade on the mat, and you can then pull that leg over and then back. Okay, and that was, so this was Supta Pada Gustasana 1, 2, and then coming across the body is 3. I'm gonna go back to midline, both feet in the strap, pressing the heels toward the ceiling, and we're gonna slip the right leg out. Right leg remains active in front of you. This is Supta Pada Gustasana 1. Now we're going to drop it out to the side, to the left. And this is going to be Supta Pada Gustasana 2. Stretching the inside of the hip muscles, the adductors. And take this one slow. Use your breath. Meet yourself where you are. Meet the resistance of the tightness and breathe into the tightness. Don't make it painful. Okay, moving over across the body. You can put the strap into the right hand now. Keep that right shoulder down. I'm sorry, left shoulder down. Left hip is blocked. And we're moving the left leg across the body to stretch the outside of the hip muscles. These are called the abductors, ABD. And again, once you get about 45 degrees across, you can let that left hip rise, keep the left shoulder on the mat, come back to midline. Okay, and one more time for symmetry into Supta Dandasana. And you're going to push down on the strap with your feet and come to a sitting position. Okay. All right, in sitting, we're going to do some nice stretches again for hip and back. This one is using like the half butterfly. So you can see here, having the left foot, we're going to start with the left foot tucked up there. Right leg is straight out in front. There's a slight twist of the body as the chest breastbone goes toward the right kneecap. I'm going to reach down and grab hold of the outside of my right foot and my big toe. If you don't have that flexibility, just meet your body where it is. Put your hands wherever you feel like, okay, that's a good stretch, not painful, good stretch. Breathe into it. Keep breathing. You'll get some give in the muscle as you hold that for 25 to 30 seconds. So, chest is rotated, breastbone going down toward the right knee. And take your time here. Okay, so I'm just feeling some give now in my muscle. All right, come on up and let's switch sides. So left leg is out straight in front, right leg is pulled up into the groin. Nice tall spine. We're going to reach. We're going to be hip hinging. So we're bending at the hip, not in the spine. So we're not doing this. We're doing this. So rotating the body so the breastbone is moving toward the left kneecap now. I'm going to reach out for my left big toe, hand is going on the outside of this left foot. Keeping the left knee straight, kneecap straight, you know, not rotated out. Okay. So that was that half butterfly stretch. Now we're going to do full butterfly. So feet, palms of feet will be together. And on this one, if you need a little something, I don't have my blanket, so I'm going to make something out of my scarf here. You can be creative. I'm just going to put this under my hips. It's going to just help me to get a little bit better positioned with that pelvis coming forward. It's going to make it easier for me to get into this position with a straight spine. So if you have something around that you can use, a blanket, just a rolled up, you know, sweatshirt or sweater, scarf. Okay, hands are going to come around the bottoms of the feet. The thighs are pressing straight down toward the floor. And again, we're hip hinging. We're not doing this, but hip hinging, bending at the hip joints, which are way down here. So this is where the movement is coming from. So coming forward, thighs are pushing down toward the mat. And I'm very slowly, so I'm feeling a pretty good stretch on the inside of my thighs. Some stretch in my lower back. Keep the breath nice and easy, in through the nose. And just give it some time. Again, if you don't push too hard and you just breathe, meet the resistance, breathe into the resistance, and just stay there, you will feel the muscle begin to give. If you're pushing too hard, you're going to feel the muscle fighting against you. Okay, come on up. And then from this position, we're going to go into full back body stretch. So this is called seated forward fold, also called Paschimottanasana. Again, we're hip hinging, so arms are going to reach up. You're going to hip hinge and drop the hands. Wherever they land is where you put them. The toes are a nice destination, but if you don't have the flexibility, don't just go to your toes because you feel like that's where they should be. The hands are wherever your flexibility allows them to be without being in pain. So I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm getting a little bit more flexible. And again, give it time. This stretch is stretching everything in the back body from your plantar fascia up into your calves, your hamstrings, the backs of your hips, your low back, your entire spine, and your neck. So this is a really nice stretch. But don't overdo it. You should be able to relax in this pose. And again, 30 seconds. You're going to feel the muscle naturally start to give. Okay, come on up. So we've covered a lot of the back body. We're going to move in a different direction now. Going to be on your tummy now. We're going to do a little bit of upper body strengthening. These are great postures for strengthening your upper back to get the shoulders back. especially if you have a forward head posture or like a roundedness in your upper back. All right, so we're on the tummy. And we're just gonna kind of rock a little bit and get, since we've been in a lot of flexion, flexion is where we're doing those folds. Just kind of rock back and forth. Now we're gonna put forehead down on the mat. Slide the hands back. We're gonna do cricket arms. So elbows are tucked alongside, hands are fingers facing forward, thumbs are just at the mammillary fold. Okay, legs are active behind you. Again, those muscles are turned on but not moving. So you're squeezing your elbows, pulling them back as if they had bungee cords on them. And we're lifting now as you tuck your lower belly up and in to protect your spine. Lifting with the upper back. Head is in neutral. The lift should not be a push with the arms. It's a lift, not a push. Okay, come down. And that is called Cobra Pose, also called Bhujangasana. Now we're going to do another upper body strengthening posture called Salabhasana. So forehead on the mat, arms are by your sides, palms up, elbows straight. You're going to be tucking that lower belly up and in again to protect your spine. You're going to lift your legs straight, lift the arms, lift the head and neck, keep it in neutral. Head is an arched back. And hold, hold. I try to hold each of these for about 3 breath counts. It took me a while to get there though, so. Okay, and come down. All right. Just take your feet and help your knees come apart and push back into child's pose. Forward a little bit. So, child's pose, knees are apart. So your chest can come down in between your knees and hands are in front. Forehead is on the mat. If you can't get your forehead on the mat, you can bring your block in. Rest your head on your block. And we're just going to give a little rest here. Okay. Come up onto quadruped position. So, on all fours, also known as tabletop. And we're going to do some cat-cow. So this is cow, cat, cow, cat. Breathe out on cat, in on cow. Arms and legs are moving very little. Your spine is moving between your 4 limbs, right? So there's not any movement happening in the arms or legs. The movement is all in the spine. Okay. Next, exhale on cat. You're going to reach on an inhale. Come up this way. We're going to thread the needle. So arm goes through the needle, the eye of the needle, dropping the right shoulder down, right ear on the mat. This is called thread the needle. Okay, inhale, reach up with the left arm and thread the needle. I'm extending my right arm up above. You can either have it here or you can extend it overhead. And come back up into tabletop And from here, you should be pretty balanced to where your feet need to be. So curl toes under and push up into downward dog. So we're gonna do downward dog. This is great weight bearing for the upper body. Keeps the bones nice and strong. Okay, we're gonna do three-legged dog. Left leg up. Good. We're gonna step it through now and replace the left hand with the left foot. We're gonna go into lunge. If lunge is too much, you can come down. You can keep it into a low lunge like this, or a high lunge. Arms overhead. Good. We're gonna come down. Place the hands around the left foot. Push back up into downward dog. Okay, we're going to do three-legged dog with the right leg up. Step that right leg through and replace the right hand. It can be in low lunge or tall lunge. Hands on either side of your right foot. Push back up into downward dog. Okay, we're going to step it out just a little bit into plank. So a little strengthening for upper body and core. And push back into a squat. Back into plank. Back into squat. Plank. One more time. Squat. Good. Bring your feet up. Walk your hands up to meet your feet. And we're going to be in a forward fold. This is called Uttanasana. You cross your arms, grab hold of your elbows, and just do a nice little kind of ragdoll. Really letting go in the hips. Make sure your hips are really relaxed. Okay. Take a breath up into half forward fold, Ardha Uttanasana. Bend your knees and come to a stand. All right. So we're going to work our way down now back onto the mat, and we're going to do a Shavasana. Shavasana is resting pose. It's called dead man's pose. So there's not much happening, but it's more of an allowing things to relax. So there is some action in that your awareness goes to letting go. So if you have your eye pillow, this would be the time to pull that out. I like to use my cranial cradle again for Shavasana. If you don't want to, then just rest, or if you don't have one, just lay down flat on your mat. So getting the cranial cradle in the resting position, remember, flat side is down, the tip is facing behind us, the head is going in a little hole. Okay. Arms are out by your sides. Your eye pillow is going to go just across the eyes. It's going to black out all the light. It's just going to help you go inside a little bit more easily. All right, I'm going to set the timer. I'll keep track of the time, and you just work on letting go. So just again, bringing some awareness to the head and neck region. Letting the head, if you're using a cranial cradle, let the head feel the cradling. Let go into that little cradle. Let go of the tension in your neck and your jaw. Release any tension in your shoulders, arms, or hands. Coming aware of your breath, letting go in the ribs, your hips, thighs, knees, ankles. And just breathe. You don't have to regulate your breath in any way. Just breathe and let go. Okay, so we're going to begin to come out of Shavasana. You can just begin to move your fingers and your toes a little bit. Let your breath deepen. And take the eye pillow off if you're using an eye pillow. Take the cranial cradle out. You want to roll to the side. You can rest on the bicep pillow there. Take a couple brief breaths in side lying. And then when you're ready, push up into seated, easy seated pose. And we'll finish the routine. We're going to just end this session with a set of 4 intentions. This is again something that I learned through the Chopra Center, the training that I did. And so if you'll just sit comfortably, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and I'll state the 4 intentions and you can just repeat each one silently to yourself. First intention is for a joyful, energetic body. Second intention, for a loving, compassionate heart. third intention, for an alert, reflective, transformative mind. And lastly, for lightness of being. So take one big breath as you reach up. Bring the hands down through midline in prayer pose. Thumbs to the sternum. And just thank you, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this routine. Namaste.